Do you miss driving her?
I do.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's been like a super long time. Anyway, it's been too long since I made a video, and I'm finally doing something really interesting that I thought I would share with you guys. So you see in the first couple clips, we've got Raven's 350Z here. We just finished pulling the motor out and putting it on that engine stand. And the most exciting stuff is happening. We've been saving up for a little while, and Raven is gonna go ahead and get all the stuff he needs to build this motor. So this will be our first time doing a motor build on a 350Z DE engine. I forgot to mention one thing about this motor that we're about to tear down. We're not 100% sure if when we were doing anti-lag the last time before we pulled out of the car, if it has a rod knock. It started making some crazy clicking sound. We weren't totally sure what it was. It sounded pretty horrible, and we decided not to drive it after that. We were going to either rebuild it or get another motor. And we did find another motor. So today we need to determine whether this motor is actually rebuildable or if we need to go purchase that other one and build that one up for the Z to go back on. So we're going to flip this thing over right now and just do a quick look at the crankshaft and see what we find. That is like almost for sure bearing material. Dude, I don't know if you guys can see the grit. The whole bearing is for sure just on this sidewall here. That's crazy. Alright, well we definitely, I'm guessing we're probably going to need at least like a crankshaft. Dang it. Hey, how's it going? We're back on the dyno. We've got a 2005 350Z. It's a rev-up version, so we'll have to see how that does. But we made a baseline pull really quick, and we're just gonna do one more pull, let it warm up, and usually I make a couple pulls back to back to just kind of verify the horsepower number we're seeing is like a good baseline. So do one more pull really quick and see what it's like, and then we'll get into some fun new tuning stuff. But I just figured I'd show you guys this because anytime I get fun new Nissan and 350Z stuff, it gets me kind of excited. So I don't know about you guys, but I love the yellow color. Okay, so on this one we made, looks like 205 foot-pounds of torque and 223 horsepower, and that's really not too bad. We'll go ahead and put an up-rev reflash in it really quick and start the tuning process. But in the meantime, I noticed that he has a aftermarket steering wheel, and he does not have the factory buttons that you need to change your tuning slots. So I'll show you over here really quick. We are currently disassembling the steering wheel, and we're going to take the buttons out and try to plug it back into the steering column. That way we can actually switch from, you know, map 1 through 5 or whatever. So, and on this particular car, I'll probably give them probably 3 different maps. So, all right, we'll get into that in just a minute. I'm going to start working on this tune file. Okay, so I loaded 3 maps on this car. The first map is just his horsepower map. It ended up making 241 on the best pull, which is about 19 horsepower more than it made when it came in. And now I'm going to test out map 2, which should just pop a little bit, and map 3, which occasionally will shoot flames. We'll give it a shot.
Another happy customer. Driving off.
Okay, I'm working on a late model 370Z. It's actually like the Nismo model, and this particular customer came in a couple weeks ago, and we did some wheel spacers and a dyno tune and a few other things. And we learned a few things about wheel fitment. You know, people always ask like how to get their wheels to be a little bit more flush out here, line up with the fender a little bit better. So I didn't actually have the answer to this either, but my customer figured it out, and so I figured I'd share it with you guys. On the stock Nismo wheels, all we did was use 25mm spacers all the way around, front and rear, and it flushed out the wheels super well. Didn't seem like he hit any tire rubbing or anything bad like that. And now, the thing is that we still had quite a bit of wheel gap. Like, the factory wheel gap was pretty substantial. So, he's lowering it with a set of, I believe it's Swift or Sprint or something. Hold on, let me take a look. Swift, yeah. Alright, so he's lowering it with this set of Swift springs. We got them off the Z1 website or whatever. He picked them out. And this should drop it just a little bit over an inch. And we are going to switch the front 25mm spacer out with a 20mm spacer to prevent the front tire from hitting the fender. And he should be all super good to go. So anyway, we're gonna install these 4 springs. I'll show you what it looks like with this particular progressive rate spring, like how far down it went for the lowering, and what the wheel fitment looks like with a 25mm rear spacer and a 20mm front spacer. We'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay, we just finished up with the Swift spring install, and I think it looks pretty nice. I drove it around already, and the suspension feels pretty good. Honestly, if you're going to do a cheap coilover or a spring, if you're only going to do a little bit of a drop, I think the spring is a really good way to go. It handles better than stock, I think. Maybe just a little bit. It's kind of hard to say. I didn't really take it on any like major corners to get like a super good feel, but it definitely didn't feel bad in any way. We went ahead and left the 25mm spacer in the rear for the wheel and the switch to the 20mm in the front, and you guys can kind of see like the wheels are pretty flush on the back, and I'm actually loving that fitment. It's pretty good. And on the front, we went back down to the 20. We were a little worried that the tire would rub, but after looking at all together, I think honestly we might put the 25 back on. I feel like he still has plenty of clearance, so I would just run the 25mm all the way around. Sorry about the wind, it's a little windy, if you guys can hear wind noise on the camera. But I just kind of want to give you guys a sense of what it looks like if you are not trying to do coilovers and you decide just to do some lowering springs and wheel spacers on the factory setup. I think it looks plenty nice. So you don't get that super crazy low look, but it's good. It takes out most of the wheel gap. I'm going to go ahead and have Raven crank it up really quick and see if you guys can hear the... This one is really, really rowdy with Tune 2. And he didn't want like a Tune 3. Is it already in map 2? It's probably map 1. Anyway, you guys get the point. It's just kind of fun to play with. I always separate it and leave them with like a stock, just drive around and basic map on map 1, but map 2 I give them a little bit of fun pops and stuff just for the heck of it. But yeah, it's hard not to want to drive this thing around. It's kind of hard to get back into my old Z after playing with these newer 370s. They're pretty nice. Eventually I'll have to probably get one. But alrighty. Man. I was gonna mention one more thing. He basically has catted downpipes, but they're the high flow style. And then he has the stock Y pipe with the resonator, and these are just muffler deletes on the back. And it's pretty dang loud. If you're trying to go like maximum loud, this is pretty close. Give us one more rev just so they can hear how actually loud it is. Yeah, I don't imagine you need to be any louder than that driving around, so. All right, that wraps up this project. On to the next thing. All right, so the last thing I'm working on today, as you saw, is I've got a wiring diagram out and I'm rewriting the software for the Haltech so that I can add a boost controller and data log wideband as well. So we never had the auxiliary harness, but we finally got it today. So we're gonna go ahead and install those two things, boost controller, wideband, and then reprogram for it and get back on the dyno. So this car has never really made much power, even though it's got a full RB25 swap in it. It makes like just under like 200 horsepower. So we're hoping today get it a little higher than a couple pounds of boost. We might actually get it like close to its stock level. The stock turbo was always bad in it, so we were never able really to make much power. So he's on a newer T3. I think we might have shown it in another video. And finally, we have a way to control boost to turn it up and see what he makes. So anyway, I went ahead and populated the harness that's already wired. I basically just have to get it and start programming. So I'm gonna make a baseline pull on the regular boost and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, I made the first pull on the 240SX and it made, I think, 275. The very first pull only made 180 at like 4 or 5 pounds. We hooked the boost controller up, and just with it hooked up but not turned on, it bumped the boost just a hair, and I think it made 220. And then we put it at a 40% duty cycle and it made 275. So right now I'll show you, I actually set up a generic output so that I could write the table so I could reduce or increase the boost by gear, you know what I'm saying? So right here, I don't know if you can see it, but basically first gear I left it alone because it already spins the tire pretty good. Second gear, I don't know if you can see that, but it's got 30% in the top of second gear, ramping out to about 50% in third, fourth, and fifth. And we're just kind of hoping for a conservative like 300 horsepower at the wheels, plenty to get the car sliding and for him to go to this event and kind of shake the car down a little bit more. So I'll go ahead and make a pull and show you guys what that looks like right now. And we're just about done with this car. Super easy and fast, no big deal. Okay, we got that car all finished, made just around 300 horsepower. It's all ready to go for him. I think it made like 16 pounds of boost. Small little typical T3 eBay turbo, but worked out really, really good. And that pretty much finishes up that project. So got his boost controller, everything working good. I was able to get the gear ratio to work for the boost control and everything, so that all came out really, really good. All right, I don't have very much more going on for the week, so I think we'll go ahead and end the video there. But stay tuned, we got some stuff coming. We've got Raven's engine over on the stand, and we ordered some stuff for it, so hopefully we'll hear back in the next few days, and then we can show it on the next video. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.